This video will cover what plans are and some of the main components of plans, as well as how to research them. So the first question you're probably wondering is, what is a plan? There are a couple of different components that tend to comprise plans, but first we'll talk a little bit more conceptually about what a plan is and why someone might read one. So in a basic sense, a plan is just a specific way to do the resolution. So let's start with an example. Let's say I have the idea that I should go to the grocery store. Quote-unquote generic whole resolution affirmation to that statement would just say going to the grocery store is good. So, for example, I'm hungry, therefore I should go to the grocery store. I'm low on groceries, or even I just want to practice driving my car. A plan agrees with that original statement, so in this case, it agrees that going to the grocery store is good, but does what's called parametricizes it. That is, it proves that statement true by example. So with that example, the plan would be I want to go to Walgreens. That is a specific grocery store, or Whole Foods or whatever, and I am defending going to Whole Foods or going to Walgreens. And my contentions are not reasons why going to a grocery store more broadly is good, but rather a reason why going to Whole Foods or Walgreens or whatever is instead a better idea. So, for example, Walgreens also has a section on batteries where I can buy some useful appliances. It also has, it's close to my house. So, the reasons why going to Walgreens are good would probably be much more specific to Walgreens than grocery stores more broadly, but it still proves the resolution true. Another good way of thinking about this is think about the resolution as a circle. Many debaters will choose to defend the entirety of that circle, but a plan will still be able to prove that that idea is good, but does so within a subset, or a smaller circle within that circle. But it's still bounded by the resolution. That is, it still has to prove that a grocery store would be good. So, you're probably wondering next, what parts does a plan have? A useful acronym is HITS, which describes the 5 things that most plans have. First is harms. Harms are basically just the bad thing that is happening in the status quo that necessitates the plan. So, for example, in the grocery store analogy, I am currently hungry. I currently need to practice driving my car. I currently need more groceries. As a corollary to that, inherency says the plan is not currently happening. If it has already happened, there's no unique reason why voting affirmative is good. So for inherency, I am not currently at the grocery store. Topicality refers to whether or not the plan meets its burden of proving the resolution true. That is, does that smaller circle exist within the bounds of that larger circle, or is it a separate thing altogether? So, for example, if you were to argue Walgreens is not a grocery store, then it doesn't prove that overall statement that going to the grocery store is good true, and therefore is not germane affirmative ground. Significance you shouldn't worry about. It's not really a relevant thing, but I included it because people still sometimes talk about it. It just basically means if the plan is something that matters, but that's largely subsumed by harms. Insofar as a bad thing is happening currently, that seems to indicate that something significant is happening. And solvency is the ability for the plan to quote unquote solve or like resolve a lot of the problems that are mentioned, so the harms. So for example, if the negative were to win that going to the grocery store does not in fact alleviate hunger, or maybe they're out of produce, then that would indicate that the plan does not do anything to resolve the harms.